Welcome to this week's Ask GMBN. We're going to be diving into your questions we found in the comment sections down below and using the hashtag AskGMBN.
Down below the desk.
Down below this desk there are questions, Neil.
Whoa.
Let's get into it and see what we've got. First question is from Andy Bridge. And he's saying, hey guys, I'm from Austria.
Doesn't sound very Austrian.
And I would like to know what you would suggest as an essential winter and mud riding gear, pants, jackets for enduro riding. Do I need a special waterproof jacket or pants, or only normal short, long pants in combination with leg warmers? Okay, so I see what you mean, like kind of short knee length stuff.
Yep.
Most of the time I'm riding at low temperatures, -5, +10 is the highest. And I would like to hear your opinion on how you would deal with it.
My opinion is, I did it for years as well with just a waterproof coat and normal lowers, should we say?
Yeah.
And it's all right for a couple of hours if you keep going, but you'll get cold and get wet. I've recently got a really good set of waterproof shorts and a waterproof jacket, and I love it.
Yeah.
Makes a massive difference. Merino socks, potentially get some winter shoes as well that stop you from getting wet. If not, merino socks just do the job really well anyway, but you just get wet.
And that's just to do with the material, is it?
I love it. I've got merino everything, just the best stuff.
Merino, right.
Even if they're soaking wet, you'll probably stay warm.
Yeah.
Ideally, you wouldn't get wet. But
Yeah. And one thing to think about, layering. Make sure you do a bit of layering,
Yep.
because then you've got options.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Right, next question is from Duarte Batista. Batista.
Hey, I was wondering if I can change my 27.5 wheels and tyres, 2.8 tyres, for a set of 29 wheels with a 2.2 or 2.3 width.
All right, okay. Yeah.
I'd say yes, probably. The question continues. What internal width on the rim would be recommended for 2.2, 2.3? That's a very good question. I would say probably 25, 30 mil internal width would be about right for that.
Yeah, I think you can swap out to a 29 on quite a lot of bikes.
Yeah,
now,
say
can't you?
it's bikes and Merida Big Trail 800. What will happen to geometry? It will stay very similar, if not identical. So he's more interested in cross country. I think that's going to be a good move. You'll end up getting thinner, faster tyres, better suited to cross country, the wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess geometry-wise, you're going to get slightly higher bottom bracket, but
I think the overall diameter is so close, you're not going to mess around with it too much.
let's just look at this video of Neil trying to do that, actually, putting a 29 front in your Scott Genius?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's sort of jack the front up a little bit.
Let's have a look.
The Scott Genius has always been designed to be a very versatile bike, and this is the latest edition. It's had a full frame redesign, but one of the really cool features about this bike is you can swap out the two different wheel sizes really easily. So in this video, I'm going to try the 27.5 wheels, swap them out for 29, and let you know how it feels on the trail, how it actually changes the ride characteristics of the bike, how it stacks up against the clock, and ultimately try and decide which ones I prefer the best, but also give you guys hopefully a bit of an insight as to how it affects the characteristics of this bike.
Redfire. Hello, are there some hidden GPS trackers for mountain bikes on the market? Good greetings from Germany.
Well, you know what? I haven't actually heard of many. There is, was it the Sherlock GPS?
There's a couple options for this. I think they're all sort of road specific, but I don't see why it makes any difference really. Spy Bike, this fits in your head tube. There's little tile things they're called. You get to go on your keys. I guess that'd work.
That would work on a bike, of course it would. Yeah. So there are some options out there. But yeah, it's a good thing to think about though, actually. That, isn't it? Yeah, clever. Might do that myself. Next question. What you got, Neil?
XD says, hi, I'm having problems with manuals when I go fast. I'm scared of looping out while going fast. You should be. That hurt.
Yeah.
I also have no one-finger brakes. Any tips? So you mean your brakes aren't good enough?
Yeah, maybe the brakes aren't good enough for one finger brakes, or he's hoping there's some kind of special lever for one finger braking, which there isn't. So that might be it. But either way, one finger braking's not necessary. You can do two finger braking and manual.
But definitely cover them, because the only time you see people loop out is when they're not covering the brakes. Really.
And definitely be worried about manuals going fast, because they can go horribly wrong, and does often.
Get really good hitting your brake. It takes a bit of practice, and you'll just know how much and when to hit it, and it will save your arse.
Literally. Next question from Christian Scholer says, can you do a comparison of different internal wheel whips with pros and cons?
Wow.
Also, when does tyres become too wide for a wheel? That's interesting.
That's
That's
it.
interesting.
Well, I thought it was boring.
Well, no, I mean, I think there is a point where a rim becomes too narrow for a tyre.
True.
Because you suddenly have got this horrible sensation where there's this big balloon of tyre at the
big
bottom that just
balloon.
kind of keeps folding over to one side or the other.
So how can we do it? So that if that's your rim, a big wide, a thin rim, your tyre is going to balloon out like an egg shape.
Yeah.
Wider rim is going to make it a more round.
Yeah,
balloon.
basically you get a squarer tread actually.
True.
You don't get the same use out of the tread. So there is an optimum.
You'll
but
see
it
it.
really depends on the tyre.
Tyre manufacturers will probably say it on their websites, or the rim manufacturers will. They'll recommend a tyre width. Sounds like one for Doddy, to be honest.
Yeah.
But more often than not, we're seeing 30mm rims almost becoming the norm now, and they recommend them for 2.3-ish tyres up to probably 2.5.
Yeah. I mean, there's rims going right up to like 45 and beyond. Yeah. Which is great.
But what the question was, when does a tyre become too wide for a wheel? Oh, I don't know. You'd have to check the manufacturers, but it all makes sense. They'll all correspond. Wider rims, wider tyres.
Yeah. Okay, next question, Neil. This one's for you. Sam Gooding Matthews. Hi, GMBN. Love the videos. I'm new to the MTB scene. I want to spray sticker my helmet so it looks pro, but not Red Bull, you know, because that would be weird. Is this okay, or is it just not the done thing?
I definitely did this as a youth.
Me too.
You used to be able to buy those kits. I think Troy Lee did like
Yeah.
these helmet sticker kits. You
Yeah.
could slap them all over. Look really cool.
There's nothing better than a very cool stickered up or painted helmet. I always get my
I
helmet
used to-
painted up. I still do it.
Yeah, I don't. I have had a couple. I used to make my own stickers out of paper and then get, you know, the like almost sellotape, like clear sticky tape. Put it on there and then stick it on your helmet. So you make custom stickers.
Yeah, that's what I did exactly the same thing. I love doing it. It's really cool, but yeah, you're right. Don't do a Red Bull one. That is not the done thing because only a Red Bull athlete would have a Red Bull lid. Hey, Cal says, is there a reason to not set the fork on very low pressure and ride downhill with it almost locked out, so it would feel like a normal setup, and then be able to unlock it on the climbs and have a really steep head angle? Does that make sense? Are you talking about actually riding the fork flat? That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work.
What, on the climbs? If you
Either way.
I think it's not going to work really because you're turning the low speed compression damping up.
Yeah.
What we're talking about locking out, so it's not going to work very well. If you've got max low speed, you're just going to have this horrible fork. So you could do it, it's just not going to feel very good.
What you could do is totally let all of the oil and air out of your front shock.
Yeah.
You could then ride it up a hill completely bottomed out, and the hill would feel flat because you'd be riding into it.
I've seen people.
Wait, then when you get to the downhill, lean back and the shock will magically come up and you're just manual with the front wheel kind of floating.
Yeah, you have to,
And it'll all look fine.
You've done it with a front puncture and you're just hanging on the back.
Yeah,
wheel.
steering all like that. Coming in the corners and going, oh, I've got a front puncture. It's getting worse.
I've seen people with toe straps strap the fork down like a motocross starting thing.
Yeah.
And ride uphill.
Then you can just ride up hills like this.
Like an elevator.
Yeah, just do this. Sorry, I totally that all up. I just got excited.
Jake Braun, does riding in rainy or wet conditions wear down brake pads faster?
Yep.
Does, especially there's one place in the UK called Forest Dean.
Yeah.
It's like grinding pace. Ride one really wet day there, like, gone.
It really does make a huge difference. You can get pads that work better in the wet.
Sintered pads better for wet riding.
Yeah, but
I don't change them.
it tends to be that when the mud gets in there, not necessarily just the rain, but when the mud gets in there, that really does wear them down fast. I remember right back in the day, probably 1996, testing out one of the very first pairs of carbon disc brakes.
Oh, yeah.
Like carbon coated disc brakes they were actually. And they were amazing. We were riding on these rocks, they were trials brakes. Thinking this is the future. There was a slight downpour of rain and the coating came off in minutes and they literally didn't work anymore.
Wow.
And it was like, well, that doesn't work.
That's cool. I've never seen Converse.
Yeah.
Did you ever wear through a rim? You had it that long, that, you know, with your old rim brakes, and eventually they just go through, disintegrate.
You wore the metal.
Oh, the
down.
good old days.
They were. Right, Chris Hansen says, this one's pessimistic. Is a carbon frame really
Perfect for
worth the extra dollars? Is it really worth it? Does the weight savings make that big a difference? What's your favourite bike material? So is carbon really worth it, Neil?
Oh, you're asking a man who hasn't bought a carbon mountain bike to get them for free, Martin.
Well,
We're
yeah,
lucky in that
yeah,
situation. I've been a sponsor ride for years,
Yeah.
so I would always choose the carbon option, of course. But it's lighter. Often it's stronger. So Santa Cruz used to recommend it for heavier riders above a certain weight. It was like 10, 12 stone in UK terms. So what's that?
Yeah.
A couple hundred kilos. No,
Yeah.
100 pounds.
I think, I mean, there's more dialed ride, of course, stiffer, more precise. Some people would say it would look nicer. I would disagree with that. I don't think they definitely look nicer. And I would argue, right, I've got a Canyon Sender in carbon. I love it. It's one of the most, I love that bike, right?
Yeah.
But the aluminium Sender
Cool.
looks rad.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I don't think they necessarily look better, but there is a weight saving. There's a slightly different ride, and there's someone stood on our roof. But anyway, I don't know if you heard that.
There's a video we've done.
Yeah.
7 things you don't know, maybe you didn't know, about carbon fibre.
Let's have a look at that then.
Carbon fibre has been used to produce mountain bike frames since the late 80s, and since then its use has broadened significantly. Producing these sort of frames is a very labour intensive process, as you can see here in the Scott footage from their carbon fibre production facility. Firstly, it can be used to make very lightweight frames, certainly with a higher strength to weight ratio than using aluminium. Secondly, it can be used to form very complex shapes, and these shapes can be very light and neat, certainly more so than using other materials. Finally, it can be used to actually tune the ride attributes of the ride, so you can have a bike that's very stiff yet also dampens trail shock. But still, there's a lot of mystery about this amazing material. So here are 7 things you might not know about carbon fibre.
Sammy Ascar says, why don't you get a GMBN trail dog?
What?
It's a good question. I mean, it seems unlikely, so we couldn't keep one here in the shed. I mean, it's
Or
not.
could we?
It's too dirty for a dog to live in
Hey,
here.
you know what? If we had a well-trained dog, do you remember the Blue Peter dog?
Yeah.
That was always. It wasn't. Was it? It was Goldie, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe.
There was
Goldie.
2. Maybe there was more than 2. Basically, it's a show in the UK.
I've been on
Blue
Blue Peter. You've been on Blue Peter.
I've been on it 3 times.
Yeah.
What colour badge you got?
Yeah, I got one normal one.
I got a silver
I
one.
know you've told me this already.
Well, don't ask about Blue Peter then in some kind of competitive instance.
I love dogs. Oh, I lost my 2 dogs the last couple of
Oh.
years. Oh,
Broke your
sorry.
heart, didn't it?
Oh, yeah, it did.
Oh, man,
I'd love
it's
to get another
crushing.
dog, but I can't at the moment. But
No. I
I
mean,
never had
I'd-
a trail dog. Mine were too big and fat to run on
my
trails.
dog, George,
Yeah.
he would be a good dog for the channel. He's
Yes.
big, very slow, doesn't do much. He would fit in the corner all right.
We've got Blake already though. So.
Yeah, maybe we've sort of got a dog. We've got a pet, and it is Blake.
I always think he's an excitable Labrador, isn't he, Blake?
Yeah. Well, literally, if you shout fetch and throw something, he does run off. He does. Right, time for correct me if I'm wrong. First one is from James. He's on an Orange Clockworks 120. Here is my dad attempting a few jumps. That's right. Well, what's right and what's wrong? Okay, let's have a look. See what James's dad is doing. First attempt. Here we go. Go on, James's dad.
Whoa. Oh,
Oh, it was all right.
it's going quick.
Yeah, it was all right. He carried the speed through there pretty good, I think. What have we got one where he's getting it more wrong than that? Here he comes. Rolling into view. Oh, it's the same set, I think, isn't it?
That's like a cool place.
Oh, there he is in the distance there. He's just coming into sight now. Come on, James's dad. Doesn't seem to have the same speed.
Oh, bit of a spud hop, I'd
yeah,
say.
bit of a. The first one was pretty good.
Yeah, all I see there is the seat just goes straight up. So
Yeah.
pull in with your feet to get the back wheel into there rather than
Yeah.
using weight. So what happens then? You run out of space and then you can't go any higher. And that's why you come up a little bit short. So James's dad, try and learn to use your hips to lift the back wheel.
Nice. You're good when it comes to the old coaching stuff. Neil.
Oh.
Did you know that?
Used to do a bit.
Right, next up we have got Nelius on his custom Merida in South Africa. Went to session our school's cross-country track with a friend
Wow.
and did my first nose bonk. Is there anything I can improve? Wow, looking forward to this.
I wish my school had a cross-country track when I
Yeah,
was growing up.
absolutely. Yeah. There are some schools in the UK with cross-country courses.
Is that
Very
right?
cool, yeah. Right, here we go. Let's see his Nelius's nose bonk.
I think he's
I've
trying
got high
to
standards of this.
manual out of it as well. So, Oh, nice. That was good.
close.
I like that feeling.
Close.
It's a funny sort of seesaw where you go,
Yeah.
The nose bong does send you straight to a manual.
I'm going to be quite particular about this, right? Okay, because I think to do a true nose bonk, you really need to get a bit more distance. Bonk. It's not really an touch. It's got to be up, donk, and then that donk should lift you up a little bit more. So we're talking, you're coming in, donk, then to manual. So it's actually got to create some inertia of itself. Bonk.
Yeah.
So really, you're kind of coming in, you're touching the front wheel, and then you're going into a manual. It's more like stoppy to manual. Whereas you
practicing,
really need to go
Elias.
up, bonk, and down. You need to practice much harder, spend much more time on it. I'm being very hard on you because I want you to succeed.
This
man.
is one of those things I would have done 200 times when I was 18.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You're doing it all right, man. You've got a perfect jump
Yep.
there, and you're thinking outside the box. You're trying new things. It's fantastic. Congrats.
If you want to see a video on how to manual, we've got a cracking one over here. Cracking.
Absolutely.
Click over here for that one.
Yeah. Now, see that globe that's there? That means you can subscribe and become one of our 1 million plus people following GMBM. We're all very grateful that you're here. So make sure you hit that. Give us a thumbs up, like, and we will see you next time. Bonk. Bonk.